when it collides with Six's jacket, you hear it as if it's pattering on a raincoat. That is awesome. That is so clever. Welcome back to another episode of Game Audio Dev Reacts. I'm Adam, and today we're going to be looking at the very first Little Nightmares game. I think they've got some really interesting sound design choices and some systems that I think are very interesting. Lots of really interesting moving parts about this game. We're going to focus on scale, which this game is a great example for out of the ordinary scale in terms of game size. Anyway, we'll get into the video. Before we go any further though, please make sure to like and subscribe to appease the algorithm gods, and let's get into it. Okay, so this is Little Nightmares. This is made by Tarsier Studios. It is a fantastic game. Both of them are fantastic. They truly are masterclasses in sort of horror and storytelling without words. It's so good. But let's focus on the audio, because I think that, to me, is what makes it really shine. I think it builds, as with most horror, I think the sound design is arguably the most important part, but maybe I'm a little bit biased there. Really interesting ambience there. It sounds muffled, sounds sort of gritty and noisy. There is visual film noise on the screen, so that links really well with the visuals. I'm hearing that little flame burning there too. Now, if you notice, so this character is called Six, and so when they're running around, you can hear the almost nylon elements of the foley, the jacket foley, sort of rubbing against one another. And I think nylon is a really difficult sound, I find, because I think it can sound really synthetic sounding, obviously, and really it's hard to make it work well. I think the sound of nylon rubbing against each other isn't the most satisfying to hear in the real world anyway, so they did a really good job of making that sound authentic without being overbearing. So I think, yeah, they did a great job there. Whilst this isn't an audio thing, I just love the detail of Six covering the flame as she's running to not put it out. Love that. This truly is an awesome game. If you're a fan of Limbo or Inside or any of those sort of style of games, this is right there. This is one of those fantastic games. Ooh. Very nice. Again, that was systematized there, where based on the velocity of hitting it, depends on how aggressive it plays the sound. It would be so easy to just play a single sound and have there be no collision going forward, but yeah, the really great attention to detail there. Now, if we notice the change in environment sounds, when you go through one section to another, you hear the ambience change quite drastically. Very nice. It's so atmospheric. It sounds so good. Oh, I love the way that they've used attenuation, or I guess just filtering, to sell distance. Oh, I love that touch. Okay, so the pattering sounds that we're hearing are pattering, but when it collides with Six's jacket, you hear it as if it's pattering on a raincoat. That is awesome. That is so clever. I absolutely love that. Again, the sense of space has just completely opened up. So there's going to be no spoilers. But in this story, it's not that the world is massive, it's that 6 is small, right? So you've got to convey that element of the character being small, also barefoot, which is one of the more difficult footstep surface types to record, obviously because you have the padding sounds of the foot, right? Like the, I guess the like sort of sound, right? Difficult to get it to get that sound as it is. But then imagine that character is 1/10 of the size that you would normally expect. So they've done a really good job to make that a good volume, but also it sounds like the right hardness on the surfaces. Sounds really good. Again, really nice attenuation there on those sort of wet elements, and you really do get the sense of scale as it pans out. Yeah, there's some filtering going on there as well, that's nice. Nice. So that is one of the collectible things. So it's not necessarily important to the gameplay itself, but let's see. It has been a number of years since I played this game last, so I'm gonna try and remember how I did it. I love those sounds in the distance. Really otherworldly, sort of hard to put your finger on exactly what it is that's making that sound, but it's very strange. Ooh. Didn't hear any impact sounds on that toilet roll then. Nice. I think I would have expected a more consistent loop there, I think. And maybe some more low-end knocking sounds on the chair itself. I think that sounded really good. That door is really creepy. Now, if you hear the fans whirring, so it's a fan, but it's creating this sense of rhythm, which feels really intense. Sounds amazing. It's so tense just because of how repetitive it is. I find a lot that if sounds are repetitive in a certain way like this, it can come across as really scary in the right use case. We saw our first gnome then. Interesting. So that sounds like there's actual refrigerator elements that have been not convolved, maybe convolved, but at least combined with other elements, it sounds really nice. Very scary, but also quite grounded in reality at the same time. Great job with that. Can we get them from here? Yeah, that gate was nice. Oh, the transition between those zones. That is so cool. I've just noticed there's two above me, so I've got to get out of here. Okay. Nice. So, based on what we saw there, it looks like these sounds are track-laid rather than like a physics system. So the way that it fell, the first two sounds had impact sounds, but the last one didn't. And I'm not hearing any like little like juddering, like da-da-da-da-da sort of sounds when it's on the ground. So I assume they've just linearly designed those assets and put it on as like an event queue or whatever it would be. Which is a completely viable way of doing it. It's far easier, especially if it only happens once, so. Ooh. Holy moly. I remember this bit. Good. So that wind sound, I had to really think for a moment there if that was actually wind or if that was someone screaming. Really interesting. It sounds like they've used something like Little Alter Boy, the plugin, to add another harmony on top of it, so it sounds like someone screaming. So they use a wind sound, like a wind howling sound, but then they add a harmony on top, let's say a third or a fifth, or something else, which makes it sort of sound more humanoid. It's an interesting technique. It's one that I know we used on Casting of Frank Stone as well. So there is physics, though, on some things. Oh my god, that sounded amazing. Oh, I wish there was more things I could throw. Oh, that sound is so good. I'm an absolute sucker for anything physics-based in-game audio. Let's try that again. That is awesome. I could genuinely do that all day. Oh my god. Oh, I don't think that one actually fell. Okay. One more. Love that. That is so nice. And to be fair, I'm trying to think of how you would do that, because there's almost certainly nothing below this view of the camera. It's almost certainly just like an area, and as soon as it's outside of the area. So if I was to do that, I think I would have anything outside of the camera volume as its own separate surface type. So as soon as it hits outside of that volume, do a delay to make it sound like it's falling further, but then have a pre-baked asset with reverb and distant attenuation on it already. So it happens, so it sounds like it's falling really far, but it's actually not. It's just falling outside and then triggering with a delay and with the reverb. So that would be an efficient way of doing it, where it's not going to cost a lot of resources. And yeah, I think that's how I would do that. As you see, it works so well. It was really effective. Yeah. And it means that all the heavy lifting is done outside of the engine then. So it's literally just, as far as the engine is concerned, it's just a regular asset. You don't have to worry about the reverb and the delay and all of that. It's really nice. That is so nice. Oh god. That is absolute cinema right there. Holy. Okay. So, firstly you've got the lighting, which does most of the heavy lifting, but the audio being so directional to the right is a pure tell to just say, here's where you need to go. But then there's also this like sort of vibrating sound that happens, which stops when you close the door. So it's almost like the atmosphere from the new room is leaking through now. And I have a feeling, because this door falls slowly again, that I'm going to need to get through this door before it closes. So that repetitive humming sound is almost acting like a timer as well. Okay, let's go. It's a skill issue if I ever saw one. I wonder if I can jump across. You can. You can? Interesting, so that sound must have been the inner workings of the door then in this case. I love that they're not afraid to use the low-end frequencies and stuff that people would normally really heavily filter. They're just going full ham with it. It's great. I would really expect it in a structure like this where, again, no spoilers, but we can't really tell where we are yet. There's a bunch of stone everywhere, there's wooden surfaces, but ultimately it looks like all of these rooms are made out of some sort of sheet metal. And so the entire area would be just resonating. If you were really there, it would be so resonant. And there's a debate to be made. What would this character hear? Would they hear the resonance in a different way if they were this small? But again, harking back to what I said yesterday on the skate one. Are you hearing it from the character's perspective, or are you hearing it as a fly on the wall? Which, in this case, I think we are hearing it as the camera rather than as the player. Which I think is an interesting one. However, with that being said, the closer I get to this electricity, the louder it gets. I could be imagining that actually. Just waiting for it to come back on. Interesting. Now I wonder in the game world what that ticking was coming from. I think sometimes you have to take, again, those like creative liberties when it comes to sound design. Sometimes you just need an informational sound that can't really exist in the world like that. Anyway, let's see if there's physics on these blocks. Love that train sound. Oh, there it is. Ooh. Very nice. Oh. Bam. So now we're really getting to our like horror elements. Ooh, I like that. It's nice. So when you go on the carpet, it dulls the sound. Again, the audio there has a gameplay function. I think it's really cool. Oh, I think you heard that maybe. No, I'm not sure. It's really cool when the audio has a gameplay function like that. Now, I think that cuts off a little abruptly there. But they may be doing that to build suspense, to be honest. There's something maybe about to happen, so let's have a look. I'm just really hungry, it seems. Now, it's a bit of a meme that I really don't like the sound of heartbeats in game. I think, especially when it's so prevalent in the mix, it like makes my head throb, basically. So I really try wherever I can to not use it. It's not too bothersome here, but even still, I think there are better ways of representing panic other than just a really loud heartbeat sound, you know? So there we get the music introduction. That's like the leitmotif for this character. It's Six's theme, I believe. Interesting. Maybe not. Really nice. Yeah, I mean, that sort of definitively says it, really. Yeah, these elements get louder when you get closer to it, so that is definitely the case there. Now, I am hearing like pitching artifacts on those sounds, so when you pitch a sound down, but there's not enough sample rate to comfortably lower the sound, it will make it sound all artifacty and distorted like that, where it's like sort of lacking some of that top-end detail. Love how mechanical this game sounds. Very organic and mechanical sounding, though. It's somewhere in the middle. It sounds very old and vintage, like it's been there for a long time. Really nice sounds on those gnomes there. I'm actually not sure how they would have done that, where it sounds like they're sort of scurrying like that. Maybe some sort of like rat or something, footsteps and then sped up. I'm not sure. Terrifying. They really did a fantastic job with conveying the distance and space here, especially with that sound. Like that sounded like it was in the other room. Also seeing that portrait on the wall, looks like we're in the caretaker's area here. Ah, there's a key there. Okay. Nice. Really nice. If I was nitpicking, I might do a more impactful sound when the key hits the wood, but again, very nitpicky. Really nice. Oh, actually. Okay. that theme come back in. Okay, it's getting dark outside, so we're gonna close off this video ASAP. But yes, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe for more content. If you have any games to recommend, please leave them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed, let me know what you enjoyed about it. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.